Not gonna lie, when certain people get to a certain level of fame, I don't know why, but you start to hear little about certain people sometimes. And I don't know if how many people are really exempt from it. Because if you really think about most of your top celebrities, black celebrities, rappers, I feel like the ones that are at the top for a long time, I feel like I've heard a rumor damn near about all of them.
Y'all know Lord Jamar has built his reputation on being unfiltered, saying the things most people wouldn't dare say out loud. He's consistently positioned himself as one of the more outspoken voices in culture commentary. Whether he's talking hip-hop politics, industry dynamics, or high-profile figures, he tends to go straight at the topic without softening his opinions for mainstream approval. Now, reportedly, Lord Jamar has recently leaned into those long-running Beyonce age conspiracy theories, bringing up the rumors around her actual birth year and supposed timeline discrepancies. Discrepancies apparently that even her own mother Tina has trouble keeping straight.
When Beyonce was 3, I took her to the Triumph tour with Michael Jackson and his brothers.
Wow.
And my friend said, well, if you go to this certain area at the Astrodome, he's gonna come out that way. So I had her out there, it was a group of about 20 people. He walks over, tries to grab her. And she loved him so much, she was just overwhelmed as kids do, and she just started crying, and you know, she wouldn't.
Anyway, in an interview with The Art of Dialogue, Lord Jamar directly addressed the age difference between Beyonce and Jay-Z when they first became romantically involved, describing the timeline as unusual and questioning the power dynamics between an established industry veteran and a much younger artist. He pointed out that Beyonce was reportedly around 18 when their relationship began, while Jay-Z was around 31. Jamar placed that conversation within a larger criticism of how older and more established figures interacted with younger artists during that era of the music industry. He also brought up long-standing rumors involving Jay-Z and Foxy Brown, although those claims have never been established as fact. If we be real with ourselves, it was kind of abnormal when he got with Beyonce. She was pretty young when he got with her. That was essentially the point Jamar was making. But then the internet took that conversation and ran in a completely different direction. For years, conspiracy theories have circulated claiming Beyonce was not actually born in 1981, but several years earlier. One version of that theory claims she was born in 1974, and supporters have tried to use old interviews, photos, and supposed documents to make the theory appear more convincing. According to the theory, if Beyonce had actually been born in 1974, she would have been in her mid-20s when she and Jay-Z began dating in the early 2000s, and that's where some people believe the theory suddenly makes the relationship timeline look different. Instead of a roughly 18-year-old Beyonce dating a man in his early 30s, the theory would place her as an adult woman in her mid-20s. But there's an important distinction here. That interpretation depends entirely on an unverified claim about her birth year. And let's be real, people have been digging up alleged receipts about Beyonce's age for years. The internet has repeatedly pointed to old comments about how mature she seemed when she was young, along with various interviews and photos that supposedly don't match the official timeline. The theory basically argues that if Beyoncé were older than publicly reported, some of those moments would suddenly make more sense. Instead of being a teenager who appeared unusually mature, she would simply have been an older young woman whose public image was being presented as younger. Then things got even more complicated when an alleged birth record began circulating online. The document was said to show a Beyoncé Giselle Knowles with a September 4, 1974 birth date. Supporters of the theory treated it like a smoking gun, while others immediately questioned whether the document was authentic. And that's where things get important. A document appearing online does not automatically make it legitimate, especially when its origin and chain of custody cannot be independently verified. The widely documented birth date for Beyoncé is September 4, 1981, and reputable biographical sources continue to list that date. There has never been credible public evidence establishing that she was actually born in 1974. So while the alleged document continues to circulate whenever this conspiracy resurfaces, it shouldn't be presented as proof that her official birth date is false. Another piece of evidence people have tried to use involves Beyoncé and Michael Jackson. Internet users have pointed to old stories about Tina Knowles taking Beyoncé to see Michael Jackson and have tried to compare Beyoncé's appearance in old footage with the age she was supposedly at the time. Some people looked at the footage and argued that she appeared older than expected, while others said the entire argument was based on subjective guesses about how a child should look.
And this is where the timeline gets messy. People online have repeatedly recycled different versions of the Michael Jackson story, using the footage to support different birth year theories. But a child's appearance in an old video isn't reliable evidence of their actual date of birth. Kids can look dramatically different at different ages, and without a verified date attached to the footage, trying to calculate someone's birth year from their appearance is basically speculation. Then there's Beyoncé's father, Matthew Knowles, who unintentionally added even more fuel to the age rumors during a 2015 interview on The Breakfast Club. While talking about Destiny's Child's early competition with other artists, Knowles said Pink was the exact same age as Beyoncé and then placed Usher in the same age bracket. The problem was that Pink was born in 1979, while Usher was born in 1978, both older than Beyoncé's widely reported 1981 birth year. Knowles said she was the exact same age as Beyoncé while discussing Pink, and then added that Usher was the same age and that they were all around 14 or 15. Those comments understandably caused people online to start doing the math. If Beyoncé was actually born in 1981, the ages don't line up perfectly with what her father appeared to be saying. But a confusing or inaccurate statement from a parent isn't automatically evidence of a secret birth year. It could simply mean he was speaking loosely or misremembering a timeline. Still, internet users immediately turned those comments into another piece of the conspiracy. They started asking whether the Knowles family had been giving different ages for so long that even they couldn't keep the details straight. Was Beyoncé born in 1981? Was she actually closer in age to Pink? Or was there some completely different explanation? That's where the speculation took off. And as for why anyone would allegedly lie about an entertainer's age, there is a broader history of age-related image manipulation in Hollywood and the music business. Performers have sometimes faced pressure to appear younger, and celebrities have occasionally been caught giving inaccurate ages. But that broader history doesn't establish that Beyoncé or her family falsified her birth records. People have also brought up celebrities like Nicki Minaj, Rebel Wilson, and other entertainers when discussing the broader idea of celebrities changing or concealing their ages. Those cases are often used online as examples of why an age discrepancy isn't completely unheard of in entertainment. But each case has its own evidence and circumstances, so they cannot be used as proof that Beyoncé's birth year was changed. The Beyoncé theory also got another boost from Gabrielle Union. In a 2008 interview, Union said that she and Beyoncé had been friends since they were teenagers. Because Union was born in 1972 and Beyoncé is publicly listed as being born in 1981, people immediately noticed that the two women's ages did not appear to line up if the statement was interpreted literally. Contemporary coverage highlighted the discrepancy and used it to fuel the rumors. Under the official timeline, when Gabrielle Union was around 18, Beyoncé would have been roughly 9. So naturally, people online started asking how the two women could have been teenagers together. But there is another possibility that gets overlooked. People don't always use the word teenagers with precise chronological accuracy when talking about old friendships, and one person's recollection of when they became close doesn't necessarily establish another person's exact age. Still, the quote became one of the most repeated pieces of supposed evidence in the age conspiracy. Some people argued that Union must have known Beyoncé when she was older than officially reported. Others simply viewed the comment as an imprecise recollection. Union has not publicly established a different birth year for Beyoncé, so the quote remains an interesting discrepancy rather than definitive proof. Then there was Jaguar Wright, who also entered the conversation and claimed she had seen an old Destiny's Child era profile featuring a family photograph that supposedly didn't match the official timeline. According to the version repeated online, Wright believed the child in the picture looked several years old rather than the age people expected based on the date attached to the image. But once again, appearance isn't a reliable way to establish someone's exact age. Without an independently verified document showing when the photograph was taken, the argument depends heavily on someone's interpretation of how old a child looks, and that makes it very difficult to use as conclusive evidence. So, when you put all of these pieces together, you can understand why the conspiracy keeps resurfacing. There's Lord Jamar questioning the age dynamic between Jay-Z and Beyonce, old comments from Matthew Knowles that appeared inconsistent, Gabrielle Union's famous teenager's remark, an alleged birth document, old Michael Jackson footage, and claims from Jaguar Wright about childhood photographs. Each piece gets presented online as another puzzle piece. But here's the part that often gets lost in the conversation. None of those individual claims establishes that Beyoncé was born in 1974. Her widely documented birth date remains September 4th, 1981. And that's why Lord Jamar's original point and the internet's conspiracy should really be treated as two separate conversations. Jamar questioned whether the age dynamic between Jay-Z and a young Beyoncé was unusual. That's a discussion about a publicly reported relationship timeline. The claim that Beyoncé secretly has a different birth year is a much larger allegation that requires actual documentary evidence. For now, the public evidence supports the 1981 birth date, while the 1974 theory remains just that, a theory. The strange interviews, old photographs, and conflicting recollections may explain why people continue debating the subject, but they don't prove that Beyoncé or her family secretly changed her age. And honestly, that's what makes this whole story so interesting. One comment from Lord Jamar about Jay-Z and Beyoncé's early relationship opened the door for people to revisit a conspiracy that has been circulating for years. But once you start separating verified facts from internet speculation, the story becomes a lot less straightforward than the viral clips make it seem.
Happened. Like I said, it was the largest infant I ever seen in my life. And that was in Vibe magazine.
Damn. Somebody.
I'm like, pictures from the family, 1981. But they saying she was born in 81. Why are they saying she was born in 81 and she's 4 years old?
And there's another part to this story that hasn't been discussed nearly as much. Maybe the Knowles family somehow had the material removed from the internet, but Jaguar Wright has continued insisting that the magazine issues she described actually existed. Another supposed receipt people have pointed to involves a former employee connected to a record label who allegedly claimed they saw information on a manager's computer showing a 1974 birth date for Beyoncé. That claim has also been connected to an even more serious rumor about why the Knowles family would supposedly want to conceal Beyoncé's real age. According to this unverified account, the alleged age discrepancy was supposedly connected to rumors that Beyoncé could somehow be Solange's biological mother. The theory is based largely on the age difference between the two sisters, with people online arguing that the timeline could theoretically make such a scenario possible. The same source allegedly claimed that this information was confirmed by a relative named Anne, who was supposedly upset with Beyoncé after a family Christmas gathering, where Beyoncé allegedly made a disrespectful comment toward her. According to the story, Anne then supposedly retaliated by sharing private family information with people connected to the family staff. The rumor goes even further, claiming that family members had previously joked about Beyoncé having baby-bearing hips while she was young, with conspiracy theorists interpreting that phrase as some kind of hidden reference to an alleged early pregnancy. But again, there is no reliable evidence establishing that Beyoncé is Solange's biological mother, and the claim remains an internet rumor rather than a verified fact. So I don't know whether people genuinely believe the alleged reason behind the age controversy was connected to these rumors, or whether the entire theory simply grew out of the entertainment industry's history of manipulating celebrity ages. What I can say is that this particular rumor has refused to disappear. Every few years, another interview, photograph, supposed document, or old statement gets brought back online, and suddenly the entire debate starts all over again. At the end of the day, Lord Jamar questioning the age dynamic between Beyoncé and Jay-Z has added another layer to one of the longest-running celebrity rumors on the internet. Between the alleged Texas records, comments attributed to family members like Matthew and Tina Knowles, and the age comparisons involving artists such as Pink, Usher, and Gabrielle Union, people continue finding new reasons to revisit the theory. But it's important to separate those claims from established facts. Beyoncé's publicly documented birth date is September 4, 1981. And there is no credible public evidence proving that she was secretly born in 1974, or that the more extreme family allegations are true. So what do you think? Do you believe the evidence supports Beyoncé's publicly reported 1981 birth year, or do you think there's something behind the 1974 theory? Let me know what you think in the comments section below.